What's up, everybody? Donald here, one half of Black and Tan. Paul Lavelli will be with us short. Tonight's going to be a cool one, man. I think we're just gonna sit back, talk bikes, and talk about stories that happen in the bike shop and on rides and things like that. If you got a good one, bring it on in. Let us know about it. If you need to be patched in, if you got StreamYard, we can patch you and we can figure it out. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good one tonight. Something just happened here at the shop that I'll talk about in a little bit. But let's just say I wish I had my friend John Holtz, who's a retired firefighter here, because yeah, things got a little steamy. But anyway, yeah, Paul's coming in a little bit. Um, like I said, we're just going to talk bikes. So, all right. So I'm going to do what Paul tells me never to do. Right. I'm actually going to be reading the questions and things like that, and bringing things on. So Desiree just texted in and asking questions. I think we've all watched people's wheels explode at the bike shop. So the crazy thing about like going tubeless right now is that people don't always have their wheels and tires set up properly, and it could easily go from like just messing up the entire shop, right? So if the bead's not on there, you put all the sealant in, you pump it up, it slips off the bead, and it blows the tire completely off the rim, which leaves the sealant that you just put in there, all over the place. So, that's definitely a good one. That was definitely a good one. So I've seen that happen multiple times. I've seen that. So I have a story about my tire coming off the front of my bike. So I went to California to do this ride called the Amtrak Century. And traditionally, it used to be where you would leave from Long Beach and you'd ride all the way down to San Diego. It's like 100 miles. And then they would put you on an Amtrak train and they would ride you and the bikes back up to Long Beach. Well, the year that I did it, something was going on with Amtrak and they couldn't schedule it. So they ended up using U-Haul trucks and buses. But either way, that's not part of the story. So what happened was we're starting the century, everything's going good. I had just started trying to ride tubeless tires on the road, and the couple of days before I tried, the first time I tried it, a couple of days before my trip, um, I came out into my garage and the tire was completely blown off my rim, completely blown off. Half my garage covered with sealant, the normal things. And I'm like, man, that's weird. I don't know what caused it. So I double checked and made sure everything was right. So fast forward to now we're on the century and we had just get finished coming down this long descent where we're probably doing close to 50 miles an hour, high 40s for sure. And it was straight, no turns, just completely straight all down. We went into a rest stop for about 5 minutes. We came back out and I'm slow rolling towards a light, and boom, my entire tire comes off the rim as I'm rolling to the stop. My carbon rim hits the ground and it's rolling on the carbon. There was a guy that I don't know who was doing the Amtrak Century right next to us. He's completely covered with my sealant. And like he was a good, but he wasn't like a jerk or anything. But it was like, damn. So that was the last time. That was my final straw. The tire coming off the rim by itself in my garage, and then the next thing, like I said, it it blowing on the Amtrak. If it had blown like 15 minutes earlier, I would have been done. I would have been 45 miles an hour downhill. Just I would have been done. So that's one of my stories. So
What's the
hey,
moral? What's the moral of that story?
can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear
I
me?
can't hear you.
Oh no.
I think that was the problem with using the mics and things like that. I forgot about that. You have to go to StreamYard. You have to put StreamYard on your phone if you don't have it. All right, so we got to figure out the Paul Lavelli microphone thing. I think I'm literally going to have to unplug my mic and use the mic from. I can use the mic. I can't use the headphones. Is what it is. I think it is. So give me a second. Let's go here.
Can you hear me now?
Let's see if I unplug.
Still now.
I'm just going to unplug stuff, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to go ahead and straight up start unplugging stuff. So if we lose it, we'll come right back. So don't worry about it.
I can hear you.
Paul Lavelli, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear Paul Lavelli.
Damn.
So give me 1 second.
I could sign language to you. Do you know sign?
Sorry, this is going to be one of those crazy nights. It already started off completely crazy for us. Mic on camera. Where do I go to?
Can you hear me now?
Speaker.
Can you hear me now?
I got you.
Can you hear me now? Bueller.
I got you now.
Bueller?
We're good. We're good.
Really?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. So we're good. All right, we're back. Technical difficulties, but it's all good. So, another bike shop story that happened just now.
What was the moral of your story?
The moral of my story is don't ride tubeless on road. That's easy. That's easy. That's an easy one. That's the moral of my story. It's like road tubeless just doesn't make sense to me just yet. I know a lot of people. It's going to hurt some feelings me saying that, but you know, it's just not going to. It's just not going to. You know, no one's going to convince me otherwise. Like I've been tainted. I mean, it's going to have. I'm going to have to see like years of people not having this kind of problem before I say, yeah, I'm cool with road tubeless.
I'm road tubeless.
I know. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings because I care about you.
I don't want anybody else to wear my seal. Though. I don't want to wear my.
See, it's one of those things where I don't want to you know ruffle any feathers. And for some reason, you talk about tubeless and that you don't do it, and you start to give your opinion on why. Man, it gets people upset. I mean, the cycling community is strongly has a lot of opinions, and they're really strong about their opinions. You notice that?
They should be that passionate about other things in their life. What do you think?
Yeah, I would like to say some of them, and then some of them I think they should be more passionate about the cycling than the other things that are going on in their life. I think it works both ways. I think it definitely works both ways. But so tonight's incident that happened, and why I'm so shuffled and don't have everything all ready to go is I was setting up the studio here, and all of a sudden there was a big bang on the back door where the guy's knocking really hard. And he comes in and he goes, "Your garbage is on fire." I'm like, "What?" I didn't even register. I'm like, "What is he talking about?" So Dave goes out and all of a sudden, as he opens the door, I can see the flames, like the reflection of the flames. And I'm like, "Holy crap, it's legit on fire. Like it's, you know, went out and it's like chest high fire now from the ground up. And it caught our fence on fire also. So now the fence that's attached to the building is on fire. The garbage is fully engulfed. We're for like a quick second, we're running around like, whoa, what do we do? What do we do? And I'm like, grab the water hose. So Dave grabs the water hose and we start to put it out. We put it out, but it was like, what the hell? So tomorrow morning when we have lights, I'm going to sift through it and see what could have caused it. But I think it happened from within. And I hate to believe that it was a battery or something that caused it, but I think it was a battery that caused it. Off the top of my head right now, I mean, there's a lot of chemicals that we use in the shop, but not too many of the chemicals that I could think of could mix and cause like something to ignite like that. The only thing I could think of that could have done it was, like I said, maybe a battery or something inside there. And we throw and guess what I found in the scraps? Did find some batteries in there. So
Wow, that's scary.
that was super scary for a second. It was really scary. You know, like I said, I wish John Holtz was here, ex-fireman John Holtz or Frank Johnson. You guys got to drink every time I say Frank Johnson. Or Frank Johnson was here, who was also a retired firefighter. So yeah, so adventures at the shop. Paul, I know you've got a couple of good bike riding stories.
Yeah, no, I did have a tire. It didn't blow off, but it definitely, we were going down, what's the road that goes from Ridge to Race?
Ridge to Race. Ridge to Race. It's Furnace Branch.
So we were going down that road by the Coca-Cola plant, right? And the tire.
Yeah. All right, I see where you're at. You're on the other side of Race.
Yeah, and then the tire. I think I was riding with Burner and a couple other guys, but the tire, it let go of its sealant. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah. No, so that's Hanover Road. Hanover that
Yeah.
goes from Race down to Ridge, or it's not. I don't know if it's Race anymore. Yeah, but either way, I know exactly where you are. That fast downhill heading towards towards Race. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
We were coming back to the shop, so we were going downhill at the time.
Yeah, that same place is where my friend. I had a friend. His name is still my friend, Mike Render. We came around that corner, and another of my friends kind of cut him off. We were on road bikes. Another one of my friends at the very top, where you turn in and you start going down towards Ridge. One of my friends cut him off, and I swear to you, I've never seen someone accelerate when they hit the ground. He accelerated when he hit the ground, and he slid past me. I was looking down at him while he's sliding on his back. And I swear, he's looking up at me like this helpless puppy. There's nothing I could do besides just look down at him. He stops. We ended up hurting his elbow pretty bad, and a couple stitches in his elbow. But Mike Render, I told your story, so that's one of his funny stories. He's like, dude, you were literally looking down at me while I was sliding. I was like, I know. I totally remember it like yesterday. It was crazy how far he slid on his back on the road. By the way, we're in spandex. We're roadies at this point, right? So I can change from being a roadie to being a mountain biker, all in the attire that I have. Sometimes you can't tell. Sometimes I ride mountain bikes with spandex. Most of the time, I ride mountain bikes with spandex. To be honest with you.
And hair on your legs.
And hair on my. That's the one thing that keeps me from. So when people say, "Are you a roadie or are you a mountain biker?" I tell them, everybody, I'm a mountain biker. And one of the ways that I can assure that you believe that I'm a mountain biker is because I can pull up one of my pants legs at any time, and I have hair on my pants on my leg. That's if you don't ever go. I say if you're a mountain biker, don't ever go full roadie. You never want to go full roadie. Stay true to your heritage. Don't shave your legs. Period. If you shave your legs, you're no longer a mountain biker. You are a roadie.
All right, so I'm a roadie. Here's my dilemma.
Oh, you're 100% a roadie.
here's my dilemma. So I'm on my way down to Florida, right? But I haven't shaved my legs in like 2 months. But I've been wearing like long bibs to ride, so it's not a big deal. And usually for the winter, I don't shave my legs. Like I let it grow. But now I'm in Miami riding on Key Biscayne, like I can't ride with hair on my legs. Like, am I going to shave in January just so I don't have hair on my legs in Florida for the week I'm in Florida? What's the verdict on that?
So you're riding with hair on your legs. No, well, I'm glad you've asked that question, because once you shave your leg, once you've started to shave your legs, you're no longer considered. You've thrown away your mountain bike. You're now on the roadie side. It's like, how can I say it? I mean, yeah, once you've gone there, you can't
It's
go
the
back.
dark side. It's the
It's
dark
the
side.
dark side. Even if you grow hair, it's kind of like, it's like being a roadie is like having herpes. You can't get rid of it. So you're a roadie. You're going to always be a roadie. And I suggest when you ride with other mountain bikers, you tell them about your roadiness. Just like if you're engaging with someone else, you should tell them about your herpes. Just
There's
saying.
gonna be a meme in my feed tomorrow saying, "Do you have herpes?"
I
It's gonna
said
be I'm
like herpes.
inundated with treatment for herpes.
Yeah. Don't. In other words, I'm not saying people, if you shave your legs, you're going to get herpes. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it's like herpes.
Listen, if we were very popular in this podcast, you'd be getting a lot of hate mail tomorrow.
You think I would? You think I would?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if that's bad enough. Is that, you think that's bad enough to get hate mail? And if I
You
got
just
hate
said
mail,
you just compared roadies to herpes. Like, you
no,
compared
no, no,
roadies to
no.
venereal
That's true.
disease.
It sounds that way. It sounds that way. But I have a lot of good friends that are roadies, and I don't want to say anything negative about them. I really care about those guys, and I hope that shaving their legs gives them all the love and joy or whatever they need to do that. Dude, I've been riding road bikes forever. I've gone forever without shaving my legs. I think you guys just like to shave your legs.
Well, they do feel smooth, and they do look better in spandex. I have to be honest with you. Like, it is what it is. Like,
So
spandex
Travis,
and hairy legs, not so much. But when you liken me to an incurable venereal disease, I don't know if that's a fair analogy. I'm not sure.
yeah, I know if you're coming in late, and maybe that wasn't a good analogy. Maybe it wasn't, but in my head, it all worked. It worked before I said it. It worked perfect in my head. And now that I'm thinking about it, and after you said what you said, yeah, maybe it wasn't the best analogy.
Maybe you should tell your fire story again, so everybody gets where you're at, and
Okay.
you're saying.
Which my fire story still doesn't lead to roadies having herpes or being like herpes. It has nothing to do with that. But the building here almost caught on fire. Almost caught on
Yeah.
fire today. So our trash just spontaneously caught on fire. We don't even know why. We'll figure it out tomorrow, I guess, in the daylight. But it almost
What are
burnt
your
down.
qualifications? What are your qualifications as a fire investigator? I want to know.
I mean, I once went into a fire station. That's it. That's all I got. Yeah, I just went into a fire station before. I've seen a handful of fire trucks. That's all the qualification I have. But I think I can deduct through sifting through that burnt cinder what kind of caused it. The way it looked, it really looked like it came from inside the bag. So I'm honestly thinking that whatever caught fire, it sparked inside the bag. There's only a handful of things that we play around with at the bike shop that could spark inside the bag.
Listen. It was in your trash. Once again, this is why we do not eat fast food. This is where we're going.
So you're saying,
Taco Bell fire sauce spontaneously combusted with some grease you put in there, and I think
look,
it's a
I'm not even.
Taco Bell incident.
Who says I even eat Taco Bell anymore?
Did you have your donut for breakfast? Did Bo get a sprinkled donut?
This episode is sponsored by Taco Bell. Have you tried?
Viva Mas. No.
I'm just saying.
Listen, I couldn't even see that, and I knew. Isn't that sad?
It's very sad. It's very sad. That's a good friend though. A good friend knows about what's going on with his friend at all times. You know what I mean? Like I can feel when my good friends are sad, so I call them. You know, I can feel it. You can feel. Apparently, you can feel when I'm hungry.
I know what you're eating.
You know exactly what I'm going to eat. Sad news though. Some sad news. I did go to the doctor about my shoulder.
Oh no.
And I'm going to need an MRI. That's not the sad news. The sad news is I got on the scale at the doctor's office.
Oh. Do you want to say where you're at?
I'm 224 pounds. The doctor, I said, what? He goes, but you look good for 224 pounds.
What's that
That's
mean?
not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So I celebrated. I felt sad. So when someone tells you that you basically that you're obese or overweight or whatever, and then that's not going to make me feel good. So what do I go do? I go find something to eat to make myself feel better. It's a cycle.
Listen, you got to fit the stereotype. You got to fit the stereotype. That's what you did.
It is, but I don't look like I'm 220 something pounds. But I feel it when I'm climbing a hill. I can tell you that right now.
You were 197 the week before the Appalachian Journey last year.
I was 197. Yeah, I just got on a 200, which leads us to what are we doing this year? I need a goal. I'm a goal driven type person. I need to figure out what am I training for this year.
I still think it's the gravel scene. It's all over. It's getting bigger.
Yeah. I mean, but where are we going to go? Where are we going to? I mean, I want to do a trip. You know what I mean? I want to do something.
Back to the trip. Listen, I want to go to Moab. If we're going to do a trip, that's where I go.
All right, Moab it is. That's easy. We'll start planning that Moab trip because there's for a couple of reasons. Moab is really close to Grand Junction and Fruita, Colorado, and I'm familiar with that area after living in Grand Junction for a year or so. I'm familiar with that area, and Moab's about an hour or so away from there, so it should be a pretty easy trip for us. We should invite as many of our friends from Black and Tan as we possibly can, but still try to keep it a small group. So Moab is serious mountain biking.
Yeah.
Moab is some crazy mountain biking. It's great. I am 100% down with hitting Moab. The only problem with Moab is I think we should make it a Colorado trip then, where we maybe start in Denver and start to work our way around all the way. So Denver's on the east side of Colorado. Moab, Grand Junction's on the west side of Colorado. I think if we started at Denver, hit all the riding spots all the way in between, or some of the riding spots, because Colorado's, you never hit them all. It's impossible for us to hit them all in between. But hit some of the riding spots from Denver over to Grand Junction, and then head down to Moab. So we would probably fly into Denver and go that route. Yeah, that's
Southwest.
Southwest. What's that? Yeah.
You can fly Southwest. There you go.
Yeah, we can fly Southwest. That's pretty easy, and it's pretty cheap and easy to take our bikes. So
done.
That's a great. That's now we got to figure out the time frame. Because Moab is a weird area. So if you go too early, there's still snow in the La Salle Mountains up top. And if you go to Moab, I gotta have Paul Lavelli do the whole enchilada with me. That's if you're gonna go to Moab, there's two things you gotta do when you go to Moab. You gotta ride Slick Rock for the first time, which will take an extra pair of tires because we'll wear our tires all down with one ride on Slick Rock will destroy your tires. Your tires will be done. So we'll ride Slick Rock just so you can get it done. And then we'll also ride, we'll go and do the whole enchilada, which starts basically at the top of the La Salle Mountains and it runs all the way down to the Colorado River. Yeah, it's like 30, maybe 30 miles ish of downward. Yeah. So yeah, that would be a blast. And I honestly think if there's any serious riders that are listening to this that may want to go with us, that's one of those bucket list rides for sure.
What about the last couple weeks in June? Is that a good time?
So it's desert. Again, you have a window, right, of where it's going to be either, and it's high desert though. So it's high desert, so you're still at like, I want to say 5,000 feet maybe at Moab, maybe a little less. So during the summertime there, it's desert, it's hot. But the temperature drops off crazy at night. It's one of those things where, we're telling stories. I have a friend named Mike Mulder who used to be the CFO at Ellsworth. He got trapped out in Moab at night and had to stay the night. And they literally, he said it was 85, 90 degrees during the day, and it was cold enough at night that they almost got hypothermia, and they all had to cuddle together to stay warm. So Moab's a wild spot, man, but it's like nothing else on this planet. You can drop someone if you blindfolded someone and took them out there and you told them they were on like the moon or whatever, if you could figure that out, how to do that, but they wouldn't doubt it. It literally doesn't look like anything on this planet.
I'm in.
Cool. All right, so we got that down. So that's what I'm training for. So I need to get back on the bike. I think what we did last year from January, let's just say we'll drop into the new year, starting back up with our gravel and doing basically what we did last year. So Gravel Sunday is going to be a big part of what we do to get in shape. And again, this is something that I want to invite everybody to do because we did it last year. And when April came, I had tremendous gains. I was doing really good, all based on us riding throughout the winter and doing the Gravel Sunday rides. I only had to do one or two rides throughout the week, and then one big long one every Sunday. We did down off of Point of Rocks, Paul.
Yep, it starts from Point of Rocks, goes into. We actually ended up Leesburg, like 3/4, maybe 2/3 of the way, and then back out on gravel again from Leesburg.
Yeah, and I think Leesburg in that area has probably the best gravel that you can get anywhere around here. I mean, it's good. Michaud's gravel was really good from you did more Michaud than I did, Paul. I've only done I think I did like 30 miles in Michaud, where you guys did close to 70. So I think you saw some chunky stuff down in Michaud, but I don't think I never encountered any of that. Everything that I rode in Michaud was like really groomed fire roads.
Yeah, we were pretty lost for a while in the snow.
Yeah.
That was cold. That
was a cold day. I went with them on that day, but I turned around and went back. My spidey senses were tingling, saying that it was probably a good idea for me to turn around. And I got to the top of Snowy. I think it was called Snowy Mountain, Snowy Mountain or Snowy Peak. And yeah, it was snowing when I got up there, so the name fit it perfect. You want to answer some of these questions?
I'm not seeing the question, so I'm actually gonna. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you're gonna have to read the question.
What?
So Mark Parks is asking Airbnb.
Yeah.
Talking about Moab.
What's the question? I heard Dave in the background there.
There you go.
Can we Airbnb out there, Donald, or do we have to camp?
I would, again, it depends on how much riding we're trying to do, right? If we do an Airbnb and we're trying to go from spot to spot, you're looking at from Moab to Denver, a 5-hour drive all the way around. So probably not an Airbnb, because it's going to have, if we did, it would have to be centrally located, right? So we could go from, like, I don't even know where we would have an Airbnb, or we would have to do multiple Airbnbs. But I think I'm thinking when I said earlier, Paul, I think maybe get a camper, rent a camper, right? Or one of those Winnebago type things. And
Yeah.
I think if we're gonna be filming, that's one way to get some good content, because there's no way in the world that we're gonna have more than 4 guys riding in that Winnebago and not have some issues to where we're gonna have some tense moments. So that's what we do for our audience, right? Like we give them good content. They want good content, we give it to them. That's reality.
That will definitely have some issues. Yeah, I think we can bring an issue-filled week to the RV.
No, let's just be honest. Let's be honest. I don't think anybody that's going to join us. I think we would probably be the only guys that could go a week and not have any issues. To be honest with you, I think they would have to be creative, because I don't really care. Like that's just how I am. I've traveled with people where if once I say I don't care, I'm literally I can't my opinion doesn't count at that point, right? Once I volunteer and say I don't care, what do you guys want to eat tonight? I don't care. At that point, my opinion doesn't count. As soon as I say I don't care, I mean, even if I hate the food, I gotta suck it up and deal with it. I'm not going to start an argument or anything else over it. I've traveled with a lot of people, and it's tough for some people to travel together because there's so many different personalities. The key is to sort that out before you start that trip, and make sure you know that everybody on the trip can get along. And I think it works out good that way. I've had some incredible trips and I've had some nightmare trips, but throughout all those trips, the nightmare hasn't been mine. It's been other people's, because I just do my thing, and I'm going to have fun regardless.
Paul Lavelli does not eat bad food when he's out camping, just so we're clear. Is that true, Donald? Did we eat bad food when we were camping together?
No, we ate really good. We probably had some of the best food I've had all year while camping with Paul. It was like gourmet. So anybody else? We got some watchers on here. Throw some stories out, guys. Give us a story. Maybe you got my cell number. Give me a call. And I'll put you on
what did the doctor actually say about your shoulder? Let's go back there.
Man, he was kind of cool about it. Because so when I went into the doctor's office, it was the same stuff that was reoccurring from the first time. So he didn't even touch me. He didn't even like want to see me. He was just like, he was more concerned with getting me an MRI, because the way my insurance works is they're not just going to give you an MRI. You got to go through therapy. You got to go through x-rays. You got to go through pain and suffering for a couple of months before they say, okay, we'll issue an MRI to you, because they're expensive. So they want to make sure that, you've gone through all those steps. Well, since April, when it first happened, I went to the doctor and I had to go through those steps. I went through PT, I went through everything. I took meds, I did everything else. So this time coming back, he was just like, look, I'm going to go ahead and write this article to him and let him know that you've done everything that you need to do. He goes, there's no need for us to look at it or do anything until we know what we're dealing with. And the only way we're going to know what we're dealing with is through an MRI. So I went in there, and he hooked me up with this really good story on why I deserve to have an MRI, so we can submit it to my insurance company. So that's where I'm at.
not say his name so he stays employed, because he's not your typical doctor.
No, he was super cool, super cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes everything that he did makes sense, right? It's one of those things where it's like, we know something's wrong. An X-ray is not going to help it. Until we get to the root of the problem, he's never going to be able to fix it. If he doesn't know what's broken, it's hard to fix it.
When's your MRI?
So it's supposed to be next Thursday, or sooner if I can get it. If I can get the okay from my insurance company. Can you see that, Paul? That question?
I can actually see the question. So somebody blew off their front tire doing a 106-mile ride on the NCR trail. With your old bike. Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
You gave somebody a bike that had sealant in it? Is this how I'm reading it?
No, that's false. Accusations.
Do you know who Randy Watts is?
Do I know? Yeah, I know who that is.
Did you
Sound
give
like
him a bike?
Yeah, Paul, you're trying to incriminate me. You're asking me questions like you're a lawyer. You're a doctor. You're not a lawyer. I'm trying to get away from.
Yeah.
So
you may or may not know Randy. You may or may not have given him a bike. He may or may not have, and he may or may not have
right.
tire.
Oh, he said he calls Randy that name. Randy Watson was always the character. Randy Watson was the character off of Coming to America, who had the Jerry curl, and he sung "I Believe Children Are the Future." That's what Randy Watson is. That's how I know the name. I knew where Randy Watson. I was like, all right, I know Randy Watson, but I don't know. I know the name, but I don't know who he is. That's Randy Watson is a Coming to America character.
Okay. Somebody's making stuff up on you.
No. So it's a true story on how the guy the tire blew off, but the person because he just calls that guy Randy Watson.
Got it.
That was a true story. So yeah, so I have a
listen. Sometimes we change the names to protect the identity of the innocent.
For sure. That's good for us to do that. I think that's a good habit for us to get into. So I got chased by a groundhog once in Patapsco, and I saved some ladies from being attacked by this groundhog. We think it was, again, I'm not a veterinarian. But I think it was ratty. So now you have me putting disclaimers out, Paul. Right? Because you told me
pretty soon in order to watch
detective. So I'm not a fire detective.
If you want to watch this podcast, you have to sign a waiver. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. You want to watch this? You got to sign a waiver. That's right. That's it. So check it out. I got chased in Patapsco by a groundhog before. And it was the craziest thing because I was riding with my buddy VJ. And VJ was up the trail from me. And I had just passed this log, a tree stump that was like maybe 2 feet off the ground and cut flat like a table. And I'm riding past it, and I see this groundhog sitting on top of it. Like, I know this sounds like a dream, right? Because it's just weird. It's just completely weird. This groundhog sitting on top of it, and as I ride by, he's just looking at me, and I'm like, that's weird. So he jumps just as I get by him. He jumps down off the log, and he starts to run towards me, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? But I'm on my bike and he's not running fast enough to catch me. But I'm curious on if he's going to keep chasing me. So I stay just in front of him just enough in front of him so he couldn't catch me, but he wouldn't give up. Like he chased me for about 50, 60 yards up the trail. Then finally he stopped and I stopped and I said, now's a good time for me to pull out my cell phone and start recording this because it's crazy. So I pull my cell phone up and I'm walking my bike and he starts to chase me again and I'm recording it and I'm saying, you're never going to catch me is what I'm telling him. It's like, you're never going to catch me. You might as well give up, right? So all of a sudden I hear these voices coming up the trail and there's these ladies. And I'm like, whoa, stop. There's a groundhog in front of us. I don't want you guys.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Did you have a gummy before the podcast?
I did.
Okay. All right. Just checking. Go ahead.
Is this the way that I would react if I had a gummy? Is that what you're thinking? So this is a true story, by the way. So I'm filming it as I'm telling these ladies to stop. Don't come past here. This animal, I think it has rabies or something's going on. So I put my bike in between the ladies and the animal, the groundhog, and it's trying to go through my spokes to get at him. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like blocking it with my bike, and they take off up the trail. And just for the dramatic effect, I go, run, ladies, it's coming, go. And it really wasn't coming after him anymore, but it was the craziest thing. Like, I've never since then, I haven't seen another groundhog even come close. Like, there's normally skittish animals. As soon as you come around, they just take off. But this thing, for some reason, had it out for me or my bike or something. And yeah, it chased me up the trail. And I got it on film, and I posted it on Patapsco Mountain Bikers. And it was like a hit. Everybody loved it. I actually got someone made a T-shirt with with a groundhog on it that said "Watch out" or something like that. But yeah, I got chased by a groundhog in Patapsco State Park. That's one of my mountain bike stories.
Do you still have this video?
I do. I still have the video. It is actually on my Facebook page. I will post it I'll post it all around. It's kind of funny.
Would you please share that? Because I think you have to at this point.
Yeah. I think I have to share it. So that was another good one. Man, I've had so many good stories. I did a night race, a 6-hour race in Virginia once, and in the middle of my night lap, I came across a huge guy with a dog in overalls. And he stops me in the middle of the trail and he's like, oh, it was so crazy. It was so crazy. So he stops me in the middle of the trail and he's like, stop. And it's at night. So I have these, it was a long time ago too. So we have these Night Rider lights that are barely lights, you know what I mean? And so it's in the middle of the woods. It's in the middle of the night. The race started. It was from 12. Was it a 12-hour race or a 6-hour race? Either way.
Were you hallucinating at this point or no?
I could have been, but this is real. So I stopped and I'm like, oh shit! I'm the only person here, right? And it's this guy and his dog. And then all of a sudden, there's another guy that comes out. So it's 2 guys and a dog. And they're telling me that I can't ride on their property, right? And I'm like, by this time, another racer had caught up to me. So it was like more of us, right? I guarantee you, I was maybe one of 2, maybe 3 black people on the entire mountain or whatever. So I asked the guy, I said, is it me that's not allowed to ride on your property or everybody's not allowed to ride on your property? He goes, everybody. So that made me feel a little better. So by now, there's like 6 or 7 other riders that have caught up. So they're out. The guys with the dog are outnumbered. I'm feeling a lot safer now. So I did that old cartoon sneak around, like doop, 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 doop. I grab my bike and I'm sneaking around the guys while they go. I get around them on the other side and I just take off down the trail. And I get to the as I'm coming into camp, I hear people, scrambling, and everybody's talking about this. So somebody must have already gotten back to the camp, and the sheriff was involved and everything like that. They're part of that a country family that's always in trouble, and the sheriff knows about the entire family, and he's like, "Oh, it's just the so and so boys," blah blah blah. But another scary moment where I on a mountain bike where I thought it was about to go down for sure. But
He
I
didn't say you
stayed.
had a pretty mouth.
What's that?
He didn't say you had a pretty mouth, right?
He did not say I had a pretty mouth. He did not say I had a pretty mouth, and I never felt like my body was in danger in that way. So and I'm sure somebody else had some good stories.
This is. You think this stuff is going to happen when we go to Moab?
No, Moab's a weird place, but Moab is one of those places where, again, I could probably be one of 2 or 3 people of color in Moab, but you never know because it's a very welcoming place. It's a really nice place to go. So no, I don't think we'll have any problems with Moab at all.
I'm going to invite my brother out. He's going to come.
I think you should.
That'll change the vibe. That'll change the vibe.
Yeah, I think. Is Mark Perch still on here? Mark has some good stories. Mark has already had some good stories. We have
very few people chased by animals while on a bike, though, I have to say.
No, that's not true. People get chased by dogs all the time.
Oh, dogs, yes, that's true.
Domestic animals they get chased by. They don't get chased by wild animals too.
That's not being chased. We call that in Virginia. We call that sprint practice. When you're down here in the rural.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Practice. The
For
dogs
sure.
know me. They know me. Like they know I'm coming, and I know like I'm going to do a sprint. I save it for that.
Dogs know you're coming.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
You know me. I do the same route. And it's the same dog, and it's the same dog just not on a leash. And he's the same dog who's going to chase me for a good 100 yards, but he'll give up eventually.
Hey Dave, are you in my can you go to my page and look up my videos?
On YouTube as well as Facebook.
It's so if you go to my YouTube page, my Facebook page, and go into my videos, you can find the video of me being chased by the ground.
Some people have been caught by a dog. Like the dog will tear up your ankle.
Oh yeah, man! I know someone that got caught by a dog, and it got him really good. He needed stitches, and they couldn't find the dog, so they were really concerned. So they put out like had posters up and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it got him really good in his calf. Yeah, some dogs, some dogs are just hurting dogs and things like that. They just naturally want to chase you and just nip at you. But other dogs have a little more intent. They're not just trying to nip at you. And with my buddy, it obviously wasn't trying to nip at him because it grabbed his calf pretty tight and punctured it to the point where he needed like 2 stitches in each one of where the canines are on the dog. So it went in pretty deep. But yeah, that was around here. I want to say that was on like Landing Road. And of course he was going uphill. It's like one of those things where you can't get away. It's like you're going uphill, you can't do anything about it. You can turn around and go back into the dog, but yeah.
This is where you don't want to be the heaviest guy on the group ride.
You just don't want to be the last guy.
True story. You know what the best way to deal with the dog though is? It's happened to me so many times. Get off your bike and yell at it, and it stops.
Yeah, but you gotta be. See, you're a dog person. You're a dog person, so you can get away with that. I don't recommend that to anybody else. If you're not a dog person, don't get off your bike and yell at the dog because they're gonna know. Yeah, they're gonna know. They're gonna call you bluff.
Best thing to do for a dog is just squirt them with your water bottle.
Yeah, and I don't have a water bottle on my bike 90% of the time. So I just, like I said,
what did he say? I couldn't hear Dave.
Dave said the best thing you can do to a dog is squirt them with your water bottle.
That's another good idea.
Yeah, that works. That works if you have a water bottle.
If you have a water bottle, yep. Which would mean on your bike you need a water bottle cage.
That's right. So Paul, I got this beautiful bike behind me. Can you see it? There's a story that goes with this bike. There's a story that goes with this bike.
Tell me the story.
Why don't you tell the story? It's your story.
That bike is back in action.
That bike is back.
That bike took a little trip, an aerial. It took an aerial trip off the back of the truck on the way down to Florida one time. Not a good feeling. Not a good feeling. At 4:00 in the morning on a rural road in North Carolina. And I could not locate that bike for maybe 45 minutes driving back and forth along the road, the 12 miles since I had last seen it. I can't recommend that.
No, that's a tough one. So you end up finding it though. Obviously, it's here now.
You know what the thoughts you have when that happens to you and you're in rural North Carolina? You're like, someone is going to encounter this bike on the road, right? And let's just say there's some nice parts on that bike, and they're not even going to know. They're not going to know.
You know, it's going to be one of those cases where, where'd you get that bike? It fell out of the back of a truck. Sure it did. Sure, it fell out of the back of a truck. No, seriously, it fell out of the back of a truck. There'd be some kid dirt jumping on that bike right now.
Yep.
Or riding wheelies on it, not knowing what he has. So you found the bike.
Found the bike. Handlebars. We lost the movie. There's the handlebars and the seat, right? That was the two. Thank goodness.
But how did it fall off your car if it was on the rack?
It wasn't on the racks because the back of my pickup was packed with paddle boards and various equipment because I was going down to Florida taking all the equipment and the fam was flying down. See, aren't I a good dad? Like, right?
You are.
I cart all the equipment down there, the snorkeling gear, fishing gear, tennis gear, paddle boards, inflatable paddle boards, and I put my bike on top because we don't want anything to be on top of that bike, right?
Right.
And lo and behold, it was a miscommunication between my daughter and I of strapping the bike down.
Did you blame this? Are you blaming this on your daughter?
No, it's my fault. It's my fault.
All right.
Because she'll remind me, she said, "Hey, Dad, don't you think we should strap that down?" And I said, when I come back out, I'm going to do that. Except for I was leaving at 4 a.m., literally 4 a.m., not making this up. So I was up at 3 a.m., getting a cup of coffee, jumped in the car, started down the road, looked back at the end of this first road, said, "Oh, everything looks great." And then drove 12 miles to the interstate on this rural road. Nothing, no sound was made, nothing, no other cars on the road, maybe a truck here or there. And then I said, well, let me check the load again before I get on the interstate. And the bike was gone. And like, you know how your heart drops? It literally like drops in your chest. That's where I was.
I've been there.
I rode all the way back 12 miles to where I last saw the bike, and I didn't see it on the road. And then you start thinking, somebody has picked this.
Dave found the groundhog picture. So let me let you finish, and then we'll show it to him after Paul's finished with the story. So you turn around and you found it.
Never saw it. Then I start driving on the side, literally on the shoulder, at about maybe 15 miles an hour, and I found it in the grass, like a deer lying down in the grass, just on the side of the road.
Oh my goodness, you're the luckiest person in the world, because no one would have ever found it. No one other than you would have ever found it. I mean, so do you have any tracking devices in it? We should definitely put something like that, because that would have been able to at least pinpoint it to a certain area. I think that's my next thing. All my bikes, I think, are going to get some type of tile or some type of tracking device on.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So don't try to take our bikes, because we'll find it.
We'll find you, and we'll bring a dog with us.
That's right. Or a groundhog. Here, check this out. We'll have a dog or a groundhog with us, I promise.
It's either a dog or a rabid groundhog.
So check this out. You can put it in front of the camera. I'll tell you if it's good. Closer. Keep going all the way close. Go.
Chasing me. I promise you ain't gonna catch me. Tell you that. You a hedgehog? I don't know what the hell you are.
You have to embed that. You have to embed that in this video. You have to embed that video.
Right? I'm on my bike.
It chased me forever.
It's a 3-minute long video.
Yeah. Well, it shows. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take that video. I'm gonna put it on our Black and Tan site, and I'll show it on Black and Tan. So if you want to see the rest of this video, you're gonna have to catch it on Black and Tan. You're gonna have to go there. That's good, Dave. So if you want to see the rest of the video of me being chased by a groundhog in Patapsco State Park, you're gonna have to go to our Black and Tan YouTube page or Facebook page, or it'll eventually be on our YouTube for sure.
You know what's funny, Donald?
What's that?
Sometimes we get comments like that we're full of shit and we make shit up, but we don't. Like, these are all 100%
true stories. True stories.
Not only is it true, I've got it on camera.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not on Strava or at least on camera, it didn't really happen. Right? We got VJ live. He was one of the guys with me when this all went down, and he didn't see. He was waiting for me at the top of the trail, so he didn't see me recording it because he had already went by. And I was like, dude, I got chased by a groundhog. And he goes, I know, I saw it sitting on top of that log. I didn't know if it was real or not. I was like, oh yeah, it was real. It jumped down and started chasing me. Probably the only person in existence to ever be chased by a groundhog.
Yeah, probably.
But so we're coming up to an hour. This was one of those, obviously we didn't have anybody planned on to be here, so we just said, look, just talk bikes and joke around and hang out on our podcast. If I offended anybody, what was that?
And plan a trip to Moab, though.
Plan a trip to Moab. If I offended any roadies out there with me saying that you were like something else or whatever, I apologize in advance. I just want to let you know that that's not the way I feel about you. I love all roadies. I love all mountain bikers. I love all cyclists. So I'm just not going to shave my legs. All right. So yeah, it's about an hour now. Guys, thanks for hanging out. We'll be more organized next week. I promise.
No fires, no house fires.
No fires. This has been a crazy day, man. This has been a crazy day. I tell you what. Thank goodness we were here though, because I tell you now, if we weren't here, there's a very good chance that this building would have caught fire. For sure. Yeah. It's and thank goodness we're on a main street, because there was a guy driving by. There's always traffic driving by. So there was a guy driving by who saw the fire and knocked on our door, which was another blessing for sure. So, all right, guys, have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us. I promise next week it'll be a lot less, not next week, the week after next, it'll be a lot less drama. We're probably going to have a guest on. Yeah. Thanks for clowning around with us, guys. Remember, it's only
Black
jokes.
and tan.
Don't take it personal.
Black
It's
and
only jokes. Black and tan, guys. Later.